I'd like to call to order the Hatfield Township Board of Commissioners regular meeting for July 23, 2025. Roll call.
President Zipfel.
Here.
Vice President Rogers. Commissioner Andrus.
Here.
Commissioner Lestracco.
Here.
Commissioner Partha.
Here.
So I would like to ask the North Penn boys baseball team to lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance this evening.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay, we have a couple of housekeeping items before we get to the fun stuff, and I know that this is a lot of people here for the fun stuff, so just give us a moment or two. So let's start with approval of tonight's agenda. Is there a motion for approval of this evening's agenda?
So moved.
Second.
Motion by Commissioner Partha, second by Commissioner Lestracco. Any questions or comments about moving ahead with the agenda before you? Hearing none, I'll call a question. All in favor of moving ahead, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Hearing none, that is approved. Okay, citizens' comments. Does anyone have any citizens' comments on agenda items only? All right, not seeing anybody run up to the podium, we're going to do our consent items. Is there a motion to move the consent items in your agenda into the record? Is there such a motion? So moved. Motion by Commissioner Andrus.
Second.
Second by Commissioner Lestracco. For those who are with us and those who are watching, the consent items are the Board of Commissioners meeting minutes of June 25, the Treasurer's report for the month of July, the bills payable, paid bills in the amount of $165,434.50, unpaid bills in the amount of $2,008,968.92, the budget report for the month of July, the VMSC monthly report for the month of June, the North Penn Water Authority meeting minutes for May 27, the HTMA budget report for the month of June, the Calmer Fire report for the month of June, and the Hatfield Fire report for the second quarter of 2025. With that, I'll call the question. All in favor of moving those into the record, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Hearing none, that is approved. Okay, those are our consent items. So now the fun stuff. We have a number of, this is, for those of you who are kind of new to us, I have to tell you that this is one of our biggest nights, and it's not just because we're honoring the baseball team, but in particular, it's the Chapman Award winners, which is, and I'll just briefly mention this and then we'll get to the baseball stuff. The Chapman Award is named after a police officer who was with us for many years and passed away. And so we have a service award in his name that we give to graduating students in the Hatfield area, in Hatfield or Hatfield area. And so we always say it's the best of the best, it's the brightest, and the best that we have to offer. So I know some of them are here. We're going to start with baseball, and then we're going to get to the Chapman Awards. And so that's why I say it's a big night, not only to recognize a great team, but for us, this is kind of our biggest evening because it recognizes, you know, one of our own who years ago passed away and served us so well. Hence the reason why we have the police in the back. So some of you are wondering why the police officers are here. This is a very, very big evening for them because it recognizes it's a legacy that they've created to pass on to young students. And those young students have served us very well for many years. So it's a big evening, like I said. All right, with that, I'm going to, Commissioner Lestracco and I are going to go down to the podium. We are going to start with our recognition of the baseball team. I tease all the time that there's no better way to say thank you and recognize you than to embarrass you a little bit. So that means I'd like you all to join us over at the podium. No. I said, who's doing the speaking? And then there's at least one person who said, are you serious? So let's start off by doing this. We have a little special gift for you, but we'd also like you to give us a little special gift. What the commissioners and staff and consultants did before this evening is we signed a baseball bat. Gave us one of the opportunities to actually sign autographs like we're big shots for just a moment. And we're going to give that to you guys, to the program, to the school. But we'd also like if you guys would do the same. And we're going to give you a sharp, Commissioner Lestracco is going to give you the... Chief, you want to hold that?
I like that.
Don't swing the bat, Chief. Don't swing the bat. So if you just take your time, no rush, because I'm going to have you up here. We're going to have you up here for a few minutes or more, and sign it. And then we're going to keep it here. We're going to put it on display for many years to come. So that's the first thing we wanted to talk to you about. Okay, the second thing. So not everybody in the room probably knows that why we're recognizing them. It's because baseball team here for the first time in many, many years made it all the way to the state championship, 6A, and just had an absolutely historic year. Coach, you will correct me if I say anything wrong, but I think these statistics are correct. So far. 22-6, and won the program's first district title since 2008. Sound about right? So, I mean, it'd be easy to just say what a ride, but they have, just in the state tournament, there's some statistics, and baseball is all about statistics, right, that are incredibly impressive. Let me read a couple of them to you. And I think some of these guys are going to smile when they hear them. Your rolled over Council Rock South 12-0 in 5 innings. Sound about right? Sounds great. Yeah, sounds good. Defeated the top seed Haverford 8-1. I got to tell you, I have a son and a daughter who played all kinds of sports. I was thrilled when you beat Haverford. They don't live anywhere near here, so I guess they might be insulted, but they're not going to know. Scored 3 runs in the top of the 7th to come back and beat Coatesville 4-2. Is that right? Top of the 7th. All right. Scored 6 runs in the top of the 7th to beat Westchester Henderson 7-1 for the district title. Right?
This guy had a grand slam.
Is that right? Very nice.
Chase Jones.
Fantastic. Fantastic. So now, one of the great things that I've learned since you guys got as far as you did, and then, of course, when Commissioner Lestracco, you're here because she reached out. It was her idea to bring you in to be recognized. She is a baseball mom through and through. Her son's going to be standing here someday with any luck, so that's the hope. And so you have a great supporter in her, not of the program, but what you guys just did all through the year. So one of the things I learned was that maybe, yes, you had a superstar moment, but you really relied on everybody throughout the entire season. There wasn't just like one superstar that, everyone else just kind of played around. Everyone, when it was their time to grab a bat, they did it, and they did it successfully. So now I just want to talk to the guys for a second. It might seem this evening like we are honoring you because you got to the state championship, right? Okay, great. You won districts. You got to the championship. You were actually seeded 6th or 8th in the tournament. So you really went further than even the what was originally anticipated. But that's just one of the reasons we're recognizing you. The other reason is because out here amongst you is moms, dads, friends, family members who have for the last 5, 10 years or more been at every practice, brought you to every training session, gone to every tournament, probably played some version of AAU or club and traveled with you and spent more money than they probably ever imagined to play baseball, right? And all of those people supported you, and you did it, and it's not just recognizing you for the last couple of weeks, but for all the years that you put in all the hard work for the passion that you found. You put in your 10,000 hours. So for those of you who don't know what that means, look that up. Your coach is shaking his head. I know he knows what that means. You put in your 10,000 hours, and you proved to yourselves and our community that you could do what was probably not believable at the beginning of the season. And now, whether you realize it or not, you have really had an opportunity that not many people in their life have had, which is there's all kinds of young men and women who now look up to you and say, you know what, if they can do that, if they can get to the state championship, maybe I can too. Now that's our goal. And so Coach is going to coach those kids coming back up, and you're the ones who he's going to point to and say, you want to see what the definition of success is? Look at the team from 2025. That's what you get to remember from this season, okay? So we know that it didn't end up maybe necessarily the way that you wanted it to at the very end, right? But that's okay, because I will tell you, and maybe as an old horse here, I'll tell you that I've played a lot of sports, I've coached a lot of kids, I've got kids that have played, and I've seen a lot of successful athletes. And it's not the wins that they remember. Winning is momentary. What really they remember, and what I want you guys to remember, is you had an opportunity to excel, and you did it, And then it's the camaraderie between each other that is going to live on. That's going to be the best memory. It's not about having necessarily a win. It's always great to win and fun, but that's not what this is. That's not entirely what this is about. Coach, I want to thank you for doing an absolutely fantastic job in representing North Penn. Hatfield obviously being in that and doing it so well, and your entire coaching staff. I'm convinced that it was probably a life-changing opportunity, but also, a full-on commitment and conviction on your part. So we want to thank you as well. Oh, by the way, I don't want him to steal the thunder, but we know that the program has a very successful player who just got drafted by the Boston Red Sox, Dylan Brown, who played here just a few years ago. Just another example of a fantastic part of this program. So, all right, where's Caleb Price? Come here. All right, we're going to recognize Caleb just a little bit extra because we want him to know something. He has got an opportunity to give a gift not only to his teammates but also to his community, because he was put in an unusual situation where now the world knows him just for a moment. But what they don't know about him is that sophomore year you broke your hip swinging a baseball bat so hard, right?
Yeah, sadly.
Had to
I had to lay the bat down. I had to start pitching it.
Is that right?
Yeah.
So had to fight back and then eventually get himself to a position where in one of the biggest game, the coach and the team said, you know what, that's our go-to guy. That's who we wanted to be on the mound. And he pitched 4 shutout innings in that game. So now we also know that didn't work out exactly as you had hoped, but I have to tell you, we want to recognize you particularly this evening because you've done something. You have an extra opportunity here that I think the other guys, didn't necessarily have. With a spotlight on you, you took the burden of the team, right? You've continued to carry that burden as the internet has done what it's done. You have represented the school and our town and our community with tremendous grace and resilience. And so you have really just kind of demonstrated, even more so than probably your average athlete, what it means to be graceful and to have worked hard and to put things into perspective. And for that, tonight, Commissioner Lestraka is about to give this to you. We're giving you what's called the Hatfield Hero Award. So for those of you familiar with what we do here, the Hatfield Hero Award is something that we rarely give out, but we give it out in very important times when someone excels in a particular area, where they give great service to our community and they represent our community in a way that we are remarkably proud. And for that, we wanted to give you a little extra special recognition. So congratulations.
Thank you.
Yep. Coach, any words?
I'll just say one quick thing. No, I just actually want to thank Hatfield and the Hatfield community for taking the time to recognize these guys. Kids get a bad rap today, and I'm sure that some people in the room, especially the men in blue, have probably seen some kids do some other things that don't bring positive recognition. But when we have a chance to recognize and honor kids that are really super great kids that come from awesome families, I just think it's a big part of what a community is. And these kids are great kids. Hatfield has been a big part of that. For those that don't know, Hatfield and Tallmadge combined for youth baseball. Those organizations merged, and several of these guys back here, and Dylan Brown, as you mentioned, grew up playing in the Hatfield Tallmadge system. So it's a community that makes champions. It's a community that makes kids that have such great class like Caleb Price and everybody else. So thank you for taking the time to recognize what great people they are in addition to their baseball accomplishments. Thank you.
One last point, I think I touched on it, but I don't think I emphasized it enough. Moms, dads, family, friends who are here, grandparents, all of you who spent weekends in the blazing sun when you were thinking, why am I doing this when I could be enjoying myself? And, why am I crawling out of bed at way too early in the morning on a Saturday or Sunday to go off so that my son can go coach baseball? On behalf of the community, because you have fantastic young men here and they represent our community so fantastically. So on behalf of all of us, we thank you not just for raising good kids, but for your effort for all these years that you put into it, as well as the effort they put into it. So thank you very much. Before I let you go, I want you to know we're going to take photos, but I actually, of all the years that I've coached, I've always told my players, I don't care if they were tiny little kids who were in first grade, I've coached all the way there, all the way to middle of high school. After today, when you leave here, go thank mom and dad, okay? Do that for us, and that's all we're really hoping that you would do for us this evening. All right, with that, let's go over.
Proclamation?
Oh, yeah, oh, sorry. Coach, I forgot. Yep. This is maybe not, the guys are probably going to like, oh, that looks so long, and you're going to read that whole thing. But I'm going to read it because it's important and it's got some additional statistics. What we're giving to Coach and to the school is our proclamation honoring the North Penn High School 2025 baseball team reads as follows. Whereas the North Penn High School baseball team, known as the Knights, demonstrated exceptional athleticism, teamwork, and perseverance throughout the 2025 season. And whereas the Knights began their season with an impressive 9-game winning streak and continued their excellence with an 8-game streak leading into the state championship game. And whereas the team concluded their season with a remarkable appearance in the state championship game, capping off a playoff run that showcased their resilience and talent. And whereas the Knights achieved an outstanding 1.80 team ERA, that's incredible, by the way, and a 311 team batting average, also fantastic as a team, and consistently exhibiting strong defensive play. And whereas their success was built on stellar pitching, timely hitting, and a deep experienced lineup that earned widespread recognition. And whereas North Penn was named the Courier Times Intel Baseball Team of the Year, a reflection of their extraordinary performance and sportsmanship. And whereas Coach Kevin Monero provided exceptional leadership and guidance throughout the season and earned Coach of the Year honors. Now, therefore, be it proclaimed in the Hatfield Township by the Hatfield Township Board of Commissioners, hereby honors and commends the North Penn High School baseball team, its coaches and staff for their extraordinary achievements during the 2025 season and for representing their school and community with pride and excellence, presented this 23rd day of July 2025. On behalf of all of the commissioners, staff, and the entire community, thank you and congratulations. All right, how about some photos over here? You guys take a step back, and then we're going to get the commissioners into, why don't we start with you guys first?
Coach, get in there.
All right, ready? Who's the senior? Last one. Okay, this is the awkward part where everyone's like, okay, are we allowed to leave? Are we not allowed to
You're gonna
leave?
stay for the scholarship.
You're welcome to stay, but we don't.
Chapman Scholarship.
Oh, okay, all right, yep. So actually, our next presentation, if Lieutenant Boyd would come up to the podium, we are going to move right into our Chapman Awards. And some of you might know some of our recipients.
If you guys are interested in a career in policing, come see me in about 3 or 4 years. Stay out of trouble in the meantime. Could I have our winners come up and our other presenters? Thank you to the board and Aaron for allowing us this time again as we honor our 4 scholarship recipients this year. So you'll see playing in the background eventually will be a slideshow. It's hard to believe that this is now the 20th year of this scholarship, and meant that Bill passed away this last May was the 20th anniversary of that. So time certainly does fly. And in the interim, we've had the opportunity to help at least a little bit. I think almost 90 graduating high school seniors through the scholarship in his name. So just a little bit about the scholarship and how it came to be. This scholarship, now in its 20th year, honors a colleague who was a Hatfield Township police officer for 15 years until his death in 2005 following a serious illness. Officer Chapman was not only an exemplary police officer, but he was also an extraordinary man. Those of us who were fortunate enough to call him a friend remember his kindness, loyalty, tireless optimism, and his remarkable sense of humor. Those who met him because of his profession remember a sincere and fair officer whose efforts never strayed from serving our community with dedication and benevolence. To honor Officer Chapman and continue his legacy, his fellow officers founded this scholarship, and we could think of no better way to cultivate the ideals held by Officer Chapman than by assisting students who have chosen a career that personally invest their efforts and talents back into their communities. Graduating high school seniors seeking an undergraduate degree in a public service-oriented field, such as criminal justice, education, medicine, law, or social work, are eligible to apply for this scholarship. If you guys are juniors, keep this in mind for next year. We didn't see a whole lot of North Penn getting represented this year. The students being acknowledged tonight exemplify the spirit of this scholarship. While we were very impressed with their scholastic accomplishments, they distinguished themselves through their outstanding personal achievements and commitment to their communities. Officer Chapman will be proud of these extraordinary young adults receiving the scholarship that bears his name. Congratulations to each of you, and thank you for help honor our friend.
Good evening. Our first recipient tonight is Dana Delamater. Dana is a 2025 graduate of Doc Mennonite Academy, where she was active with volleyball, soccer, basketball, softball, and the Student Leadership Council. Dana also participated in a senior experience where she was able to complete a job shadow with the Hatfield Police Department. Dana won multiple athletic accolades throughout her high school years to include softball Offensive Player of the Year, basketball MVP, basketball First Team All-League, soccer First Team All-League, and 2024 state champion in soccer. She did all of this while maintaining strict studies and achieving academic honor roll. Dana also participated in multiple community service events to include Minithon, County Fair, planting trees at Lower Salford Park, a social issue trip to Washington, D.C., and several food drives for local organizations. When not playing sports, studying for school, or participating in community service, Dana works in the dining room at Meadowwood Senior Living. Dana is continuing her service and her studies at Elizabethtown College, where she plans on majoring in criminal justice. Congratulations, Dana. Next is Catherine Trapani. Catherine is a graduate of North Penn High School, where she was active in the school theater, Student Government Association, Special Olympics, choir, and Italian Club. During her time at North Penn, she excelled academically and received distinguished honors, the Model Student Award, and the Presidential Outstanding Academic Award. Despite a rigorous academic and extracurricular schedule, Catherine managed to find time to be a small group leader for elementary-age students at Calvary Church and work at the Hatfield Aquatic Center as a lifeguard and attendant. This desire to serve has translated well into Catherine's desire to pursue a pre-law program at Syracuse University this fall. Congratulations, Catherine.
The next recipient is Elizabeth James. Elizabeth is a graduate of Souderton High School, where she ran girls cross country, track and field, participated in the martial arts club, student government, Pathway ambassador, and worked on the yearbook. Elizabeth lettered in track and received a Student Spotlight Award. She also volunteers to lifeguard special needs students and photograph after-school events. Elizabeth managed to find time away from her studies, sports, and service participation to work as a lifeguard through Bennington Pool Services and at the Hopwood School and Camp in Lansdale. Elizabeth plans to continue her studies at Elizabethtown College as the criminal justice major. Congratulations, Elizabeth.
Our final recipient I've known for a couple of years, Braddock Peck. Brad is a graduate of Sourdough High School, where he was active with Link Crew, Pathway Ambassador, Support Our Troops, the Principal Student Advisory Council, and a little recognized position as Big Red, the Sourdough High School mascot. As a result of his participation in these extracurricular programs and clubs, Brad received awards as Citizen of the Month and Link Crew Commissioner. Brad has demonstrated a desire for the service to others through multiple community service programs, including the Tim Tebow Night to Shine, FCA Camp, Interact Club, Support Our Troops, Veterans Brunch, and mission trip to the Dominican Republic. Even with all these activities and his studies, Brad also found time to work at Broad Street Pizza and serve as a lifeguard at the Indian Valley YMCA. Brad has decided to continue his service to others as a Naval ROTC scholarship recipient and attend Penn State University this fall on a nursing pre-med track. Congratulations, Brad. They haven't seen this yet. So every year, our scholarship, we get a plaque with our winners, and it gets mounted up in our police station lobby. And so for the 20th edition of this plaque is going up, and you guys will be enshrined forever. And it will be traveling to our new abode as well. So congratulations to the four of you. Congratulations again, and wish you guys well in the fall. Enjoy your summer.
Yeah.
Commissioners, and then we'll get the police.
Chief said all officers. All officers. Someone's going to have to go over my board.
Someone suggested you want just the kids with the police officers?
That would be great, yeah.
All right. Very good.
Yeah, I thought they were going to bolt. I think they have something in that mixed room.
Image the line of fire.
Chief, we'll just give it a second, and then we'll hand the ball off to you. All right, why don't we jump right in? We have a retirement ceremony for 3 of our former police officers, and I'm going to hand the microphone over to our Chief of Police, Bill Tierney.
Can you please come down and join us?
Yes, yep.
Meeting myself and the lieutenants. Good evening to everybody. And as Lieutenant Boyd said, it is very hard to believe that 20 years have gone by. Our last Chief Toomey is here, and I still remember the day he called us up to his office and told him that Bill passed away. Very difficult day. Jay was there with me. We worked on the squad together with Bill. Very, very difficult day. Still to this day, I know those that know him can feel it. So, very special human being. Outside of being a special cop, very special human being. So, in our current station, years after Bill passed, we had a room downstairs that, again, under the tutelage of Chief Toomey, we put it together. We had a squad room. Doesn't sound like much, but we didn't have an area for the officers to work. And we got this room together with donations and all from the town, and we had a brass plaque created. And that brass plaque is going to be coming to our new station. At the new station, the room is also going to be called the Chapman Room. And with that, we also added another touch. There's 2 very long hallways, so the main hallway is like the spine of the station. And we're going to mount this up top. Again, just a way of bringing Bill along with us. And I know those of us who knew Bill will be gone in a few years, but people will always be saying, who was Chapman? And the story of Bill Chapman will live on. And then with that, we're the opposite street at the intersection, we're also going to have McCreesh Way for Dave McCreesh, who's another one of our officers who passed away not long after he retired. So we're going to bring both of them with us to the new building. So since 2013, 17 officers who knew Bill have retired. If you can imagine, that's a lot of people gone. And there's that includes Jane, Kevin, and Mark, who are now retired. So that leaves 3 people, I think, who worked with them. That would be Sergeant Sloan, Lieutenant Boyd, myself, and I think Detective Corporal Geiger was a dispatcher when Bill was here, if I'm not mistaken. So they're the only people left who actually worked with them. And I say that because this tells you the character of the people we have working here to keep this alive. They never knew Bill. They've heard of him, and yet they keep this thing running. That's a real attaboy to the people that we have on this department. And I know everybody's been patiently waiting to hear about Lieutenant Robertson, and she loves the spotlight. So, Jane, if you come up here with your family, that'd be great. Take all the pictures you want. She's definitely a picture hound. So, no surprise, I have to ask for some a pardon before we even start. I may say something that's a little politically incorrect through here, but I'll do my best to steer away from that. But that kind of lends itself to the time that Jane actually entered the police field. It was a different world we lived in. People were not yet ready to see officers who were women. It was very out of the ordinary in the area, not just in Hatfield, but in the area in itself. Jane came up at a time where she would go on calls and people would tell her they wanted a male officer instead. And that's quite a battle to have fought in the beginning of her career as a young woman. Lieutenant Robertson, Jane, though through the years I think I called her Janice more than I called her anything. And prior coming to Hatfield, Jane attended Purdue University, and she achieved a master's degree in journalism. She became a newspaper reporter and then started her career in Hatfield in 1996. Jane immediately had a different circumstance to deal with than the rest of us. I say this because it shows her drive and desire. As a participant spectator, it was an interesting study for me. I'm pretty confident some people wanted her to fail, to prove a point that women didn't belong. Well, Jane was not going to have that. She would have to prove herself, and prove herself she did. The task wasn't easy, but she managed it very well. Jane worked her way up to sergeant and then lieutenant. Having served at both of those ranks, I can tell you that leadership is hard. With the societal barriers Jane faced, it was exponentially more difficult. That made no difference to Jane. She was going to forge ahead. She was determined to leave her mark here in Hatfield. Out of several things I admire about Jane, her determination was a standout feature. Jane was not going to take a backseat to anyone. She was sharp, she was smart, and she thought things out. She was determined and fearless. She took on tasks, many important tasks for this department. She took on a very difficult task of getting the department accredited. Our goal in 2013 was to get the accreditation job finished, and Jane got it done. She plowed through and got us to the finish line. We have since been reaccredited 3 more times, the last time under the care of Lieutenant Graham, who learned the ropes from Jane. Jane set us up for future success through her hard work. Jane was the department liaison with Hatfield Borough, and our borough leaders are here as well tonight to welcome, or give Jane whatever I'm trying to say, you know. This was an extremely important role in keeping our communities working together. A great part of knowing Jane is she has a fantastic out loud laugh. Her office was on the other side of the building, and I could hear her laugh, and it was always hilarious. Trust me, it was unbelievable. And it wasn't all work for us. I mean, we did have some fun. When I was a sergeant, I did tell the story earlier in your career, but I'll tell it again. I always got a kick out of scaring Jane from time to time when we were on night shift. I would stand in a dark hallway, around the corner of a building, anywhere where darkness existed. And when Jane would come by, I would light my face up with a flashlight. And Jane would jump and scream, and it was always a real crowd pleaser. I always enjoyed doing it. I have a few more stories that we could laugh at, such as an overflowing toilet while an alarm, but I'm not sure the status of limitations is up on that one just yet, so I'll keep the rest of that to myself. We also faced some tough times together. We lost Bill Chapman, we lost Tom Starner, and we lost Dave McCreesh. We struggled through the hiring process with the ever-decreasing candidate pool. And to be honest, we struggled through not getting along at times, as people do. Jane could be a tough cookie. I think she would say I could be too. She might also say I'm a pain in the neck, but we did okay. We fought past that, and in the end, I think we did a good job. Both camaraderie and struggles unite people, much like with the baseball team that you had mentioned earlier. That bond and those types of memories are what I'll carry with me. In a full circle kind of way, tonight brings a closure for myself and Jane's family. Jane is married to Rob Turner. I was hired by Rob's dad, Chief Turner. I was trained by Sergeant Rob Turner, who later became my lieutenant. I helped to train Jane, and she was promoted to lieutenant on my watch. Looking back, nobody could have known where our lives would lead us. Now here we are to say goodbye. Jane entered a man's world, but she always wanted to be known as more than a female officer. She wanted to be known as a good officer who just happened to be a female. She fought through the barriers and became part of the team. In fact, she worked hard enough to become one of the leaders of the team. Jane set the stage for where we are now. We now have 32 great Hatfield officers, 6 who just happen to be female. In the long run, that is probably her greatest achievement and is certainly her legacy. Thank you, Jane, Lieutenant Robertson, Janice, for all you've done for this department, and we wish you all the best as you move on to your next chapter.
Thank you.
I know you're anxious to say something, Jane.
You're putting me on the spot, aren't you?
Absolutely.
Okay. Thank you. I'm not as tall as the chief. and I'm not going to bring up the bathroom story. I'll leave that to everyone's imagination. Yeah, so 28 years it goes by so quickly, and I know for the officers, at 2 a.m. when the rain is pounding down and you're on your way to yet another call at the same address, it can feel old. But 28 years does go by fast, so enjoy the time you have here with each other. It's hard to believe. Retirement seems to go just as fast, I will tell you. It's been almost a year, and it's wonderful. I highly recommend it. But you definitely cannot do this job alone. When I look back or people say, do you miss it? It's not all the calls that make up a career, it's the people. From the officers that I worked with to working with the borough, which was just an extraordinary experience, to working with this guy back here, which was an experience in and of itself. You can't do it alone, and you also can't do it without a really supportive family. And so for my husband, who after 44 years in law enforcement, still the best officer I've ever met, Mandy and Mark, who are my stepchildren, and Miranda, granddaughter, can't do it without you. So thank you for all your years of support, and thank you for everyone for all your time. Working in the trenches, it was extraordinary. It was a great career. I do miss it, but I do also really enjoy retirement. So I'm not gonna sugarcoat it. So.
Mark O'Donnell, can you come over with your family, bud?
It's been a couple months, Dana. You tired of seeing Mark around yet? Or?
Yes.
Yes? Okay, good. Honest answer. Some information, Officer Mark O'Donnell, here to my left. Mark began his career in policing in 1994 with the SEPTA Transit Police in Philadelphia, where he served for 4 years prior to being hired here in Hatfield in November of 1998. Mark would go on to serve the residents of Hatfield Township and Borough for the next 26-plus years until his retirement on May 1st of this year. During Mark's time at Hatfield, he was a member of several specialty units to include Highway Safety, the Bike Unit, Montgomery County Major Incident Response Team, and was one of the founding members of our new drone unit. Mark was a steadfast part of our team, dependable and reliable. If you asked Mark to get something done, it got done. He was always willing to lend a hand, and despite the sometimes difficult challenges a career in policing can bring, Mark managed to keep a positive attitude most of the time. Since his retirement from Hatfield, Mark continues to serve the community by ensuring the safety of students and staff at North Monco Technical Career Center. Hopefully you don't run into my son. We'll be going there in the fall, so he's holding down the fort. And now he gets his summers off, which is, I would imagine, probably the best part of that gig. Thank you, Mark, for your years of dedicated service to the Hatfield community and for your personal contributions to the men and women of the police department over the last 26 years. And in our world, we identify ourselves a lot of times with our badge numbers, and Mark was the last of the 30s to retire. And Now, as we move forward, Mark's badge number was 37, we're up to badge 86. So it tells you the amount of time that goes quickly. And I'm glad that you're enjoying your retirement and not driving your wife too crazy, but you made it to the other side in one piece, and that's what's most important. So congratulations.
Kevin? Oh, there you are. Everybody else? All right. Tough acts to follow, but we're here to celebrate yet another retirement career of Officer Kevin Fox, who gave 28 years to the residents of Hatfield. Kevin started his journey with us October of 1996, and over the course of nearly 3 decades, he became a valued member of this department. In all the roles he took on, whether it was firearms instructor, less lethal instructor, member of the highway safety team, or as an armorer, Kevin's contribution was invaluable. Now, I've had the privilege, or depending on how you look at it, the misfortune, to work with Kevin for the past 20 years. Over that time, we've shared some fun moments, difficult ones, and a few times, well, we'll just say I probably wanted to wring your neck a few times. I think, just like Jane probably wanted to wring mine more than once. Just part of the job. But there's one thing that was always constant. It was Kevin's unwavering dedication to the job, his community, and his team. You could always count on Kevin to answer the call, whether you needed help with shift work or a bad accident or whatever you needed. Kevin was there to answer the phone. He would come out, probably because it was also involving overtime. What really defined Kevin, however, wasn't the roles that he played within the department or the countless hours of training he attended. It wasn't even the arrests he made. Kevin's legacy is one of compassion, dedication, and service to everyone around him. His wife, his children, his coworkers, and the community he protected for so many years. So Kevin, thank you for your 28 years of service. You've left an indelible mark on this department and the community. And to your family, we want to thank them for their support. I know it's not easy, so we had to deal with your patience and understanding with this career. I know it could be trying more than one time. So I have no doubt that Kevin's legacy of service will continue in retirement, just as it did during his time here with us. Kevin, I wish you the absolute best of luck, and enjoy your retirement. You've earned it.
Thank you.
20 years alive. 20 years alive. I don't even think like we're coming in 5 years.
So I just wanted to say thank you to the commissioners and former commissioners for employing me over all these years. It really is a good place to work. I'm not just saying that because I'm retired. I have no skin in the game now, but it really is a good place to work, and you do see that when you leave. Well, you see it while you're here, but you also really appreciate it more when you leave. And thanks to everybody that I worked with. It was good working with all of you. We had a lot of fun. There was some hard work involved, but it was a lot of fun. We had a lot of laughs, and that's what I definitely miss. And I just want to thank my family too. They're all down the shore, so I wasn't gonna delay this any longer. I didn't stay behind for this. I'm still working. I got to work tonight yet too. So retirement isn't always fantastic. I am working now 2 additional jobs instead of 1. But so my family's down the shore, but I do want to just recognize them. They put up with a lot with my schedule and the way this job kind of makes your mood. It does affect you emotionally, and those on the street would understand that. And but I just want to thank them for standing by me all these years. I've been married now, just had my 27th wedding anniversary, so pretty proud of that. 3 kids. I have a 25-year-old daughter, and she's a teacher, like my wife. I have a 22-year-old son who's at DeSales, and I have a 17-year-old who's a junior in high school, and so he'll be going into senior year next year. So thank them for all their support, and thank you again.
Real quick, as we transition into a promotion, I just wanted to take a quick moment to thank the 3 retirees and their families, on behalf of the commissioners. For those of you who are new to our meetings, hopefully your impression that you received is that these aren't just meetings that we go through, that there really is a great connection. There is a great bond, I know, throughout the entire police force that starts with former chief who is here. They created this, and everyone who's worked there has done just a fantastic job. And of course, that's a kind of representative of the wonderful job that our staff does. We like to think of ourselves as a family here. We don't see each other every day, but in the important times when the big stuff happens, like retirements or promotions, everybody comes out. So for those of you who don't regularly watch or come to our meetings, that's what tonight's all about. It's about family members coming out to say thank you to the retirees, and our way of saying thank you to those retirees and their families for doing such a great job and serving our community for so long. So thank you very much to all 3 of you.
Okay, last but not least, we're going to promote Officer Dan Butler to sergeant. So Dan, if you come up, do you have any family here with you? Whatever you like. So we'll do the ceremony, and then I'll have a few words to say about this wonderful gentleman. Aaron, do you have a remote mic that I can hold up over? Sure.
All right, raise your right hand. Okay. I, Daniel Butler,
I, Daniel Butler,
do solemnly swear or affirm
do solemnly swear or affirm
that I will support, obey, and defend
that I will support, obey, and defend
the Constitution of the United States
the Constitution of the United States
and the Constitution of this Commonwealth,
and the Constitution of this Commonwealth,
and that I will discharge the duties of sergeant
and that I will discharge the duties of sergeant
with fidelity.
with fidelity.
I will support, obey, and defend
I will support, obey, and defend
the ordinances of Hatfield Township
the ordinances of Hatfield Township
and Hatfield Borough,
and Hatfield Borough,
and perform the duties of sergeant
and perform the duties of sergeant
impartially and to the best of my ability.
impartially and to the best of my ability.
I pledge to never betray my badge,
I pledge to never betray my badge,
my integrity,
my integrity,
my character,
my character,
or the public trust.
or the public trust.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
right, so before I say particular things about Dan, I want to tell everybody, becoming a sergeant is not an easy task. Since we're a civil service community, there's a process to get promoted, and the entire process is run by an outside agency. It's not run by friends and colleagues. As you can imagine, a department of our size doesn't have positions available very often. When they open, it's very competitive. We're lucky to have so many good officers who have interest in leadership. Sergeant is a critical rank here in Hatfield. We put a lot on the sergeants. I feel much more than in other departments. These are the people making hard decisions while the rest of us are home in bed. First line supervision is very difficult. You're kind of teeter on the line between officer and management. It can be an uncomfortable spot to be in. I can tell you that our sergeants handle the uncomfortable extremely well. As you can imagine, myself and lieutenants are kind of pain in the neck to work for. There they are. At least they are. I don't know about me, but they're definitely a pain in the neck. And now a little bit about Dan Butler. He started his police career with Philly PD in April of 2000. He worked in the burglary division in the 15th District. He then became a member of Philly's Distinguished Highway Patrol Unit. He was a member of that until 2012. Dan made the change to suburban policing when he came to Hatfield in January of 2012. He served as an OIC for many years before entering the testing process for sergeant. After a very competitive process, Dan came out on top. Dan is a great family man, and he's a dedicated officer. He shares a nice camaraderie with everyone, and he certainly has the respect of the officers on our department. In reality, he's actually a pretty good guy to have around. Dan is really unflappable. Pressure doesn't appear to bother him. He takes compliments or criticism the same way. In the end, he just does his job, and he does it well. We're really very lucky and extremely happy to now have Dan in our leadership group. I believe more good things lie ahead in his career. Congratulations, Sergeant Butler, and all the best.
Hi, everybody. I'm Jennifer Lostraco, Commissioner of Ward 1. I'm very proud to introduce our Pride speaker tonight. We do have a little typo. His name is Gordon Gregory, not Gregory Gordon. Sorry about that. Gordon is a graduate of Cairn University with degrees in biblical theology and music composition. Interestingly, he made the next logical step in his career and got into clinical research. He is currently a trial delivery leader working for Johnson & Johnson, where he is the strategic operations lead for large phase 3 clinical trials, currently leading a 700-patient colorectal cancer trial that's in 24 countries around the world. He has 2 sons from his previous marriage, ages 12 and 14, and lives with his partner, Joseph, who also has 2 adult children and a beautiful blended family. Joseph's eldest daughter just had a baby, making them first-time grandparents, which is their new adventure. Gordon loves camping, hiking, helping Joseph with their landscaping, and doing music on the side. He has released 2 albums of songs that he wrote himself. And you'll see some speakers and things here for the music presentation as well. So welcome, Gordon.
Yep, I think so. Okay. Well, thank you, everyone. Really glad to be able to be here and share a little bit. When I was asked to come and speak a little bit about Pride Month, I was just thinking, you know, what would people who aren't typically involved in Pride activities and things like that, what do they typically think about Pride? And I think a lot of times, you know, you think about big parties and music and dancing and rainbows all over the place. But I think a lot of times you don't really know what the journey is like to get to that point where you're celebrating like that. So I figured I would share a little bit about my journey to get to some of my Pride celebration with you, and hopefully that'll get you asking some questions of others too. So I actually grew up as a missionary kid in South Africa at the end of the apartheid era. So it was quite an interesting upbringing. If you're not familiar with apartheid, it was really just 40 years ago institutionalized racism in South Africa. And it was quite the thing to, I didn't really realize what the experience was like initially. I went to elementary school and it was an all-white elementary school, and I just thought, oh, well, that's just how it is. But in 1994, as I hope you know, Nelson Mandela became president and started really dismantling what that was. And the country went through this process of truth and reconciliation. And over the years, I was able to see what that integration looked like. You know, again, I started in first grade and it was an all-white school. And by the time I graduated 12th grade, all races were intermingled and mixed together and called what they call the Rainbow Nation in South Africa, just with all of the different cultures intersecting. But in 1994, when Nelson Mandela became president, I was turning 10 years old. And that was also the time that I started noticing that I was a little bit different. And I was very concerned, being a missionary kid, being a pastor's kid, about these attractions that I was finding to boys rather than girls. And in the culture that I grew up in, there was a lot of fear in that of what's going to happen. I was afraid of being bullied, but also afraid of hell, because what I was told was that, you know, if you were gay, that is where you end up. And so I did everything that I could to try and fight it. I desperately did not want that to be true of me. And so I tried to be who everybody else wanted me to be. And I tried to really fight against who I was. And there were all of these messages that the people in my world, in my culture, God himself, it felt like, were telling me that these are the things that boys like and these are the things that boys don't like. You shouldn't talk that way. You shouldn't walk that way. Don't feel these feelings that you're having. You know, and these are things that if you don't deal with them and if you don't change them, they're going to send you straight to hell. And that God loves you unconditionally except for kind of this part of you, you know. And it was a really difficult thing. So I fought desperately against it. I tried to do everything that I could to change. Like I said, I became the person that everybody liked. But the problem is every single one of those things that I was doing was trying to be somebody that I wasn't. And what happens when you start doing that is you kind of break yourself in half. And you break yourself into pieces. And every time that I tried to be somebody that I wasn't, I had to kind of hide another part of myself. And just like in South Africa, keeping races apart, I was having to keep all of these different parts of myself separate from each other, and I couldn't really be a full integrated person. I did all the things that I thought were right. I got married to a woman, had some kids, went to Bible college, as it said, did lots and lots of therapy, lots of trying to change who I was. But every time I tried to fight against myself, it just proved this message that was there, that I was broken and there was something wrong inside of me, and I was a deeply broken person. But as I started moving through life, and as I started having some conversations with some really good friends and having people that I could start really be honest with, there was a Latin phrase that I actually have a tattoo of. It's called esse quam videri, and it says to be, it means to be rather than to appear to be. And as I started thinking about that, and as I started processing through that, I realized, you know what, like I can't keep trying to be somebody that I'm not. I have to accept these parts of myself. I have to accept all of these broken pieces that are there, and I have to try it and figure out what it looks like to live authentically. And when you think about authenticity, that's living the same outwardly as you are inwardly. And it's being the same in every single place that you're at. And that was a real big shift for me, because my entire life was built around being who everybody else wanted me to be rather than who I could be. And so I started the really long journey of taking all of those pieces inside of me that had been broken, that I broke by trying to be somebody that I wasn't. And I pulled them together, and it was a hard journey. It was a very long, hard journey. It meant coming out to my wife at the time. It meant coming out to a whole bunch of friends and family, some who could not reconcile who I really was with who they knew me to be. But just like in South Africa, this rainbow nation, they went through this process of truth and reconciliation as well, and that's where the healing ended up coming. And so I think if I can leave you with anything as you're thinking about Pride Month, I think the underlying thing is really all about authenticity. It's really all about taking these pieces of yourself that maybe a whole lot of people, maybe a culture, don't want to let you be who you are, and acknowledging them, pulling them together, and living authentically who you are. And I think where pride then becomes important is that pride isn't just saying, I am who I am and I'm the same everywhere. It means that that's something that should be celebrated, that who I am authentically, who every single one of you are authentically, should be celebrated. And I think there's still places around in this world, around in this country, where that isn't really celebrated. You know, we're really grateful. I'm really grateful to be here where there is a focus on diversity and asking somebody to come and speak about Pride Month. But we still have a couple of times a month with the Pride flag out in front of our house, people driving by yelling obscenities out at our house, you know. And so I think that's where pride becomes important, because it's this journey of finding out who you are. I think coming out as this gift that we're given as queer people, but I think everybody has this gift of needing to acknowledge who they are, live into the truth of that, and celebrate what that looks like. So I just wanted to share a song with you too that I had wrote about that. And interestingly, this song actually, I wrote it about 4 years before I fully came to terms with the fact that I was gay. But you can hear in the song that longing for being a whole person, being an authentic person, and I hope that it really blesses you all tonight. So this is a song called Whole. Okay, you hear, is that right? I forgot my guitar strap, so that's why I'm not on shape. This is me, this house that I'm inhabiting, and I can see you trying to peek inside. But all you'll see are rooms I'm keeping nice and clean, not the wealth of closets I still have. All the fear and doubt, and I'm just
I am all of me. I am all of me. There's no way to safely separate the best of me from the rest of all I am. 'Cause I'm a mosaic of a man who's finally found the strength to stand and believe. I am all of me. There's a peace when ghosts of sin so long deceased are finally given sweet release to stay. And in that place, staring at them face to face, I see a Holy Ghost of grace staring back at me. 'Cause I'm not who I was, but who I've become is the sum of every part of me.
Gordon has equipment, so I didn't want him to feel like he was trapped here. Sometimes people feel trapped when they're around, so I told him that he's okay, but I think that he's going to stick it out and watch the exciting stuff now. Because from this point forward, I gotta tell you, it's nowhere near as exciting or interesting as what we've experienced. So we'll jump into the committee reports and hopefully move along with the rest of it. Thank you again, Gordon. All right, so let's go to the Planning and Zoning Committee. Vice President Rogers is not here. Aaron, I don't know if you have.
No report, Mr. President, but we do have a land development, but we'll get to it in
Yeah.
the action item.
Yep, and then Public Works, anything?
Same as last month, just so everyone is aware, CalPath will be paved shortly. We've given the green light to the contractor. I think we're too deep as far as towns go. We're on their list. Should be done. Another thing, thank you, Ned. Hold your applause to the end, though. Just one other item I think of note, the community would probably be interested to. The PA Connector Road, the new road that connects Wamble to CalPath, will be opening August 14th. Final inspection was today. PennDOT gave us the.
We have a date.
We have a date, yes. So the traffic signal will be flashing for a period of 10 days before that. And apparently no one in Hatfield knows that when it's flashing red, you stop. Right? We had a lot of issues when that was flashing red. So they're going to have to do that again. That's to give everyone a warning that the signal is now on. It's a PennDOT requirement. If you see it flashing red, please stop. It's like a stop sign. If it's flashing yellow, you can go through it. And we will, commissioners, you'll be invited to, there's a ribbon cutting with PennDOT and State Representative Malagary and Senator Collette before the opening. So that'll be coming in the next few weeks. Good news for the township, for sure.
So I'm going to repeat it again if I hear, because we've been asked about this for forever. August 14th is, right?
August 14th, the road should be fully open. Of this year.
Of this year?
It only started 65 years ago.
That's not an exaggeration. Sounds like it's funny, but it really didn't. The thought of that, the planning of that started long before any of us were kind of certainly sitting in this room. This building didn't even exist.
You'll remember Bill Forrest used to stand up in the back of our meetings saying, when is that road going to get started?
For decades.
Right? Decades.
For decades.
And now we're opening it.
Bob Godshall, who was a state rep for us for many years, was very involved in the design of it or the thought process of it.
Funding.
And he always said that it was one of the questions he got the most is when are they ever going to build that? So August 14th. So there is still some excitement left in our meeting. That's good news. All right. Anything else on Public Works?
That's all, Mr. President.
Park and Recreation Committee, Commissioner Lestracco.
Thank you, President Ziffel. For Parks and Rec, so two of our programs I want to just touch on. Our summer pickleball runs now until October 31st. That's Mondays through Fridays, 8 a.m. to 2 p.m. Residents would pay $25, non-residents $40. Also, a seminar coming up Thursday, September 18th is Know Your Medicare Options. That is 6:30 p.m. here at the Township Building. And you can look for more details on our website. Our Music Feast summer concerts, we just had a little mini concert tonight, so this is apropos. The next concert will be coming up this coming Monday, July 28th, and the next August 11th, and then August 25th. So those are our three concerts coming up this month, and that will be 6 p.m. to 8 p.m. They're all Mondays, School Road Park, and food for sale from the local scouts. This summer, we've had a lot of really great celebrations. We had our Parks and Rec Month celebration last week. We've had movies in the park. We have another movie coming up, and that will be August 15th. It's Madagascar. It's 8 p.m., School Road Park again, and there'll be some really fun petting zoo, inflatables, crafts, and food trucks. The food truck will be Couch Potato. 6:30 to 7:30 p.m. will be those events, and then 8 o'clock will be the movie. Coming up also in August, the Dash and Splash 5K. That will be August 13th, 7 p.m. The race will start, and you will start at the Hatfield Aquatic Center. And you can pre-register and look for that also on our website. Thank you so much, President Ziffel.
All right, thank you. A lot of good stuff happening. Public Safety Committee, Commissioner Partha.
Thank you, Mr. President. On June 26th, our officer held the annual Junior Police Academy at School Road Park. on June 28th. Township official attended the Bangladeshi American festival at School Road Park. The police department and the township were presented with very nice award for the support of the Bangladeshi American community. On July 5th, officer conducted a coffee with cop details at the Hatfield Lowe's. On July 16, officers were on hand at our aquatic center for the Western Wednesday event. On July 18, officers were on hand again at the School Road Park for the local hero and the movie night. Thank you, Mr.
Okay,
President.
all right, another good report. Last is Finance Committee, Commissioner Andrus.
Thank you very much. Hard to believe it's July already, so we're halfway through the year.
Yeah.
Good time to look at the township budget. Overall general revenues for the general fund are roughly 65% actual of the budgeted amount. Real estate taxes are over 90% collected. Earned income tax is slightly ahead of where we were last year at this time. Transfer taxes are also ahead and on pace to slightly exceed the budgeted amount. General fund expenses are currently 57% of the total budget amount. Knowing that some significant expenses have already been paid, we expect to finish year at or under budget for the 11th straight year. There are still 6 months to go, but it looks like with the staff and commissioners have done a very nice job at budgeting both revenues and expenses for 2025. Thank you.
All right, that's good news. Another good report. I like these reports. All right, we're going to go to our action items, though. We have a few things. I think our solicitor is going to walk us down this path. Should I hand it over, or should I take a motion first of some
You
sort?
should
Take a
have a motion to enter into a hearing.
Yep. Is there a motion to enter into a public hearing with regard to the amendment to the subdivision and land development ordinance?
So moved.
Motion by
Second.
Commissioner Andrus, second by Commissioner Lestracco. Any questions or comments? All in favor of moving into the public hearing, say aye.
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 Opposed? Hearing none, we are now in a public meeting. I know none of you feel any different, but we are actually now handing over the responsibilities to our solicitor.
This is technically a hearing as required under the Pennsylvania Municipalities Planning Code. We are asking you to consider an ordinance which would amend our subdivision and land development ordinance as it pertains to collecting a donation instead of a dedication of land. I know you have seen land development and subdivision approvals where an applicant doesn't have the ability to dedicate land that's usable for open space, and we collect a fee in lieu of that donation of land. Our ordinance is a bit archaic. We do a calculation based on the fair market value of the land. That's a little clunky in order for us to figure out what the fair market value is. Staff made a recommendation and looked around to our neighboring municipalities to find a more objective calculation that we could utilize. And the ordinance that is in front of you, Ordinance 710, amends our subdivision and land development ordinance so that we have an objective calculation. The ordinance allows for $2,000 per dwelling unit. We have a calculation for a non-residential development when there is a new building involved, and then a non-residential development where there's no building, like a parking lot, similar to the North Penn Imports application that you're going to hear later tonight. So that's the sum and substance of the ordinance. That'll be next on the agenda where we'll ask you to adopt it, but this is technically the hearing, so I'm going to mark some exhibits and see if there's any public comment. The first exhibit will be T1, the advertisement and letter to the newspaper asking them to publish the advertisement as required by the MPC. T2 is the proof of publication showing that the advertisement did in fact occur. T3 is the transmittal to the Township Planning Commission as required. T4 is the transmittal to the County Planning Commission as required. T5 are the minutes from the Township Planning Commission unanimously recommending this amendment. T6 is the County Planning Commission review letter. They also recommended approval of the ordinance. They asked for a time constraint to be put in the ordinance itself, but I always put in the approval resolution that this is paid upon recording of the plan, so that's taken care of. T6 will be the timestamp copy of the proposed attested ordinance sent to the law library. T8 is the ordinance draft itself, number 710. They are the exhibits for the hearing. So now, if the board has any questions, I can entertain them. Otherwise, we would ask if there's public comment.
$2,000 per dwelling?
Yes.
Does that escalate for inflation?
It would be for single-family houses, for apartment units. Anytime there's a dwelling unit, it would be $2,000 per unit. So that would be used for park and rec facilities, and so that you could put it towards your parks, so that you can make improvements, so that people who would not use facilities on the property could use our public systems.
Commissioner, I think it would make sense to review it periodically and recommend an increase in the fee over time.
Okay, thank you.
So we do that on an annual basis where we look at all of our fees, and for those of you who are unfamiliar, what we do then normally at the end, as passing a part of our budget, we also approve our fee schedule. Aaron, I assume, and Kristen, I assume that this on an annual basis would be a part of that approval process?
I wouldn't think you would review this annually. I mean, we're talking about a fee in lieu of a donation of land. I think periodically, just like staff looked at this and said, it's about time we amend our ordinance, we would nudge you, because this comes up in every land development and subdivision application. So we would let you know when we think it's time to look at this again.
Got it.
Yeah.
So we have to go through the same process then?
Yes, we would do another amendment if necessary.
Thank you.
Yep.
And commissioners and the public, just a few examples over the years of how that fee has been used. It's been used to triple the size of Clements Park. It's been used to build Frick's Trail. It's been used to improve School Road Park. So this only comes into play when certain projects can't meet land itself as a donation. The fee then is distributed and invested in parks and recreation and open space throughout the town. So those are very visible and recent examples of those investments.
So is there any public comment? All right, I see no hands. So a motion would be in order. Oh, I see. Do you have a microphone to bring to her? Hang on one second. We're going to bring a microphone to you.
Aaron.
Patricia, do you want to speak on this topic, or do you want to? I know. I'm assuming I know why you're here. Do you want to wait for that topic, or do you have something to say regarding this topic? This one? I'll come over, Patricia. She's gonna do my. Oh.
Where does the money come from?
The money comes from the applicants who submit an application to build a building or build a subdivision. Yes. Okay. Anyone else have a question?
Good question, Patricia.
Hang on, Carla's got one.
Hi, Carla D'Alessio, 2169 Stewart Drive. Kristen, do you think this will increase, decrease, or keep net neutral the amount of money we typically would have collected had we not changed the calculation algorithm?
It's hard to tell. Well, I don't know what kind of applications we would see in the future. It's hard for me to answer that question. It's based on the developments that come in. I don't know what we'll be seeing, to tell you the truth.
Could I ask then, if a developer was going to put in 100 houses on a particular parcel, would it be $2,000 per each house?
Per house, yeah.
Per house on that development?
Yes.
And if it was a car dealer on a large, say 50-acre piece of land, that car dealer would pay $2,000?
No,
because it's one parcel. I'm just
No. A car dealer would be calculated under the non-residential calculation that's in this ordinance. So it would depend on what the car dealer's doing. If they're building a building, there's a calculation based on the square footage. There's a calculation for under 10,000 square feet, over 10,000 square feet, and then over 100,000 square feet. And then if there's no buildings and it's just like a parking lot, if they're doing sort of like what North Penn Imports is doing, then it's based on a per acre calculation. So what staff did is they took a poll of all the neighboring municipalities who have done this objective calculation, and then we came up with a formula that was like what our neighbors are doing. So we're not sitting here calculating fair market value anymore.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome.
Commissioners, just keep in mind too, this is only when an applicant cannot meet the open space requirement. Right. So if an applicant can meet the open space requirement, there is no fee in lieu of, so it's zero. Keep that in mind.
Yeah. Okay.
And there could be a situation where we have a hybrid, where they could donate some and ask for some sort of hybrid combination. And this is all under the subdivision and land development ordinance, so it could come to you as a partial waiver, and then you would discuss that with the applicant and come up with something that you thought was, equitable under the circumstances. Okay. Any more questions?
Any other questions? Good questions. Anything else from
Nope.
residents? No?
A motion's in order then to close the hearing.
All right, is there such a motion?
So moved.
Motion by Commissioner Lestracco, second by Commissioner Andrus. Any questions or comments about the motion? Hearing none, I'll call a question. All in favor of going back into the regular meeting, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Hearing none, we are miraculously back into the regular meeting. What we do now is presumably
Vote on the ordinance.
I'm looking for a motion for approval of Ordinance 710, which is the open space fee amendment, which we just discussed. Is there such a motion?
So moved.
Motion by Commissioner Andrus, second by Commissioner Lestracco. Any questions or let me ask, are there any questions or comments from commissioners?
No, it's good.
And residents, any last-minute questions that you thought of in the last moment or two? All right, hearing none, then I will call the question. All in favor of Ordinance 710, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Hearing none, that is approved. Okay, we're going to go to a resolution that was just referenced, which is Resolution 25-12. Is there a motion for approval for the North Penn Imports Land Development?
So moved.
Motion by
Second.
Commissioner Andrus, second by Commissioner Lestracco. Aaron, Scott, you've got it?
I'd like to introduce the applicant's engineer, Cody Callahan. He's going to talk about this project.
Thank you.
Good evening. My name is Cody Callahan. I'm with Barry Eisen Associates. I'm here on behalf of the applicant Discovery Enterprises to present the North Penn Imports Parking Lot Expansion Project. The project takes place at 139 and 157 Bethlehem Pike. 157 Bethlehem Pike is the existing North Penn Volkswagen dealership, and 139 Bethlehem Pike is the vacant lot to the south of the dealership. The parking lot expansion will begin at the edge of the dealership lot on the south side of it and expand into the 139 Bethlehem Pike property. Both properties will be consolidated as part of this project as well. All the parking spaces that are that are part of the expansion will be just for vehicle storage. There won't be any regular parking spaces for the public. We are adding a note on the plans that the township reserves the right to require crosswalks and refugee islands in the future if they're not using those spaces for public parking. And we do denote on the plans which spaces are to be used for the public parking versus vehicle storage. All the vehicle deliveries will be directed to the 160 Discovery Drive property, which is to the east of the North Penn Volkswagen. That's in the top right there to the right of the star. That property, the North Penn Volkswagen property and the North Penn Mazda property, they all have interconnecting driveways. So this should hopefully eliminate any vehicle deliveries that were happening previously on the Bethlehem Pike. I know that's been a problem. Stormwater management wise, we're just going to use one detention system below the parking spaces in the expansion lot. There's no new utilities that are proposed as part of the project. And we've gone through some multiple reviews now with the township fire marshal, township engineer, and township traffic engineer. And we're going to comply with all their outstanding comments. So we're here to request conditional preliminary final land development approval. And on top of that, we are requesting 6 waivers. Would you like me to go over them or open it up to questions first?
Brian?
The waivers are fairly straightforward. If you don't mind, Cody, I'll jump in.
Okay.
The one waiver that is being requested is for their street tree requirement. If the board recalls, this is similar to the Bergey's Kia that was just recently built. They requested the same waiver. And what the township has done is work with the car dealerships, knowing that visibility is a big deal for them, for their businesses. And what we do is work with them to provide plantings to get some greenery along the frontage without the street trees to block the visibility. So they do show some plantings on the plan. We just are asking them to extend it across the entire frontage. They've agreed to do that. That's part of the first waiver. The others are kind of the usual suspects, so to speak: preliminary final approval, waiver for sidewalk. The sidewalk waiver, though, as a clarification, is for sidewalk along Discovery Drive. Right now, there's no real good way to add sidewalk to Discovery Drive. If the board recalls, the cul-de-sac bulb that existed there before Discovery Drive was pushed through, that remains, and then the kind of straight section of road, it's limited because when the road was pushed through, it pinched up against the existing parking area. We just felt that it'd be impractical to put sidewalk in there, and nobody's going to use it anyway. They are proposing sidewalk across the frontage of the new parcel where the storage parking will be provided. So we are getting sidewalk like we have been along Bethlehem Pike. The others are really kind of technical in nature. One is for curb radii, and the other's for the parking, the paving cross-section for the proposed parking area. It's not going to be used by the public. It's not going to get heavy truck traffic. It's a slightly reduced paving section from what would normally be required in a public or quasi-public commercial lot. And we have no problem with that. Other than that, everything is real straightforward in my letter. I have had ongoing conversations with Cody about compliance. We've worked through a lot of the technical stuff so far. There's a couple of minor cleanup items that he has before the plans will be ready for recording, but they're pretty close. So extremely straightforward project.
Quick question, although I kind of know the answer. The surrounding properties are all commercial or industrial, right? There's no residential properties right at that
Yeah,
spot.
no, to the south is the bank, and I don't believe any of the other surrounding properties are residential either.
The back end, I guess, on this is close and near Discovery. There's some, but that's the back of the lots.
QNB Bank extends, is next to them heading south.
That's QNB.
That's QNB. And then those residences on Walnut, the very, very, very back of their lots.
Yeah.
But technically they're closest to those, but not really.
All right, commissioners, any questions? No? Residents, any questions? No? Okay. Thank you for the presentation, and I guess we're in the middle of a resolution, right?
Yep.
Yes.
So any other questions or comments? If not, then I'll call the question. All in favor of Resolution 25-12, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Hearing none, that is approved. Thank you for coming out.
Thank you for your time. Have a
All
good
right, last is a tax appeal settlement for 2262 North Penn Road. Is there a motion for approval?
So moved.
Motion by Commissioner Andrus,
Second?
second by Commissioner Lestracco. Kristen, I believe you have this one?
We're making it work.
Yes, this one is
Yep.
very exciting. We always follow the school district when they propose a settlement of a tax assessment appeal. This comes to us with a slight increase beginning in 2025. And I'm here to report that for the year 2025, the township will be getting a check in the amount of $814.68. So a win for the township, but it's appropriate for you to approve this settlement and follow the footsteps of the school district as usual.
So for those of you not sure what that means is when a property gets reassessed and then the tax value gets reassessed. Sometimes we're on the plus side when the reassessment happens, and now today, happily, we're $814 and some odd cents on the plus side. Sometimes when it gets reassessed, we're on the other side. But we ride the coattails primarily of the school district, who really sets that rate and then handles the assessment process. So we're kind of I'm not sure if we're the last cog in this wheel or last.
Well, the nice thing is they spend the legal dollars and the money on the assessor, and they go in there and fight for these assessment appeals, and I just wait for them to suggest a settlement and bring it to you. So it doesn't cost the township any money, but very little of my time to bring these settlement agreements to you, and they have a much larger dog in the fight. So when they say they think this settlement is a good one, I think we should follow it.
Okay, well, sounds like we might be $814 a little richer tonight, if I assume assume how, or expect how this will go. All right, is there, I already took the motion, right? Yep. So is there any questions or further comments? Hearing none, I'll call the question. All in favor of that motion, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Hearing none, we are $814 richer. Last, our township staff report. Aaron, legislative updates.
Thanks, Mr. President. A few updates. We've been 2 hours. I'm not going to bore you with too many details, but I do just want to make the board and the public, if they're interested, aware of some legislation that is currently going through the process in Harrisburg that is local government and township related. One related to tax revenue, one related to our police department. The first one, and the commissioners that have been through the budget process many times know this very well. Our revenue sources in local government are very limited, and there's a reason why you see all of the towns, when you're trying to raise revenue, you're increasing your property taxes. It's because the way the legislation is currently set up, local governments really only have the ability to raise property taxes. So thankfully, the commissioners have been able to go 11 straight years here in Hatfield without having to do so. But you've seen other communities that have had to increase over those years, which really puts a burden on a lot of our residents on a fixed income. A lot of our senior population struggles to then meet those rising costs. So there is legislation, and we are working closely with Representative Malagary and Senator Collette to allow local governments to adjust the local service tax. The local service tax is currently $1 per week for those people that work in Hatfield Township. The legislation went into effect in 2005, and there were no clauses allowing local governments to adjust that rate, like Commissioner Andrus suggested for the open space fee. There was no escalator clause. It was capped from the beginning at $52, $1 a week for anyone working in a town. And we all know our expenses have gone up significantly since 2005. So legislators are considering adjusting the cap to allow local governments, if they want to increase, not a mandate to increase. However, it gives local governments the ability to then increase our sources of revenue, not just on our seniors and our local real estate taxpayers, but the people that are coming into the community working every day. So we're following that closely. We have the support of Representative Malagary. This is something that my industry is following closely. We've helped co-author the bill because we believe other sources of revenue are important for a sustainable local government, so we don't have to continuously burden and put all of the tax revenue on our homeowners. One. Two, something that our police chief is very involved with is currently, as you drive down 309, within the last few months, and please remember this, because or else you're going to get something in the mail, but when you drive through Montgomery Township and you happen to go through a red light, not that anybody in here would, maybe Kristen, but not anybody else, if you go through a red light, you will receive a bill, ticket in the mail, because there are now cameras on the traffic signals in Montgomery Township on 309. It's called the automatic red light enforcement. We have asked for years, because 309 is a dangerous intersection. We know that. Chief's at the forefront of this. We've had fatalities on 309. We lost 2 people last year and more beyond because of accidents of speeding. So we've asked if we could put in these red lights, cameras, and we're not allowed because the law currently says that a town has to have 20,000 more population. The law does not contemplate the corridor, the fact that 50,000 cars drive 309 every day, the fact that the township actually serves a community of 21,000 because we serve the township and the borough. None of those factors matter, so our application was denied. Chief Scott and I have been to PennDOT. We have been to Representative Malagary's office. We're trying to get the legislature to see this in a common sense way to just make some updates to allow for these unique situations, for a busy corridor, for towns that provide services to 2 communities, because we think that is going to be a tool that will make 309 safer. And that's something that is a priority And I'm not going to let Chief speak. He's going to get worked up about this because he's writing letters. We've had many meetings. It doesn't make much sense. But the way the law was written was very narrow, probably intentionally. And now that we're trying to expand it, it's been difficult. So that's something we're keeping an eye on, and we're at, the light's on.
Might I add that it also says that you have to use the 2010 census, which makes 0 sense to anyone alive. We can't even use a current census to get even closer. We're using a census that has 0 meaning in this at all.
We are roughly 18,000 residents in Hatfield, so we're right around now, we believe, so it sounds like we're 2,000 people short. If we had over 20,000, then we would have the authority to do this?
Yep.
That's what the law says.
And like Aaron said, we can't couple with the borough.
Right.
We can't even, I said, can we try 309 Hilltown Pike, where it benefits 2 counties and 3 municipalities?
Right.
New Britain, Hilltown, and Hatfield all come together. Nope. Everything that we've tried has been stymied. It's infuriating because being able to take care of 309, and one of the lines I used in my letter, it's a force multiplier. The police can't be there 24 hours a day, but the camera can. If we get freed up from trying to do the things we're doing on 309, we can now access our public roads who need us, the people who need us there, instead of spending a multitude of our time on a state road.
Keep in mind, commissioners, and sorry, now it's becoming a rant.
Now
but
we're going. Yeah, we're
Pennsylvania is the only state in the country that don't allow our local police officers to use a radar gun.
Really?
To enforce speed. The only state in the country. We're still using a system that has been used since the 50s, the VASCAR lines. And it really is also boggling all minds when we ask for support for that, and it cannot get approved in Harrisburg. So.
All right, so we're a little backwards on that.
A little behind. So we're following those pieces. We're not asking the board to pass any resolution in support of these at this point. We're just following them. We're involved in them. We're helping our legislators draft some of these bills, and we hope to see some movement because think about this, commissioners. If the LST can be adjusted, this town alone could probably go the next several decades without raising our real estate taxes. I mean, that's significant.
Yeah.
And then think about the 2,500 other municipalities in Pennsylvania would have an ability to raise money and not just burden the same people over and over again. I think that's very significant.
No, it sounds it for sure. I think I know what this note is. I'll
And I
share
thought you
it.
did it, but
At the
no.
beginning of the meeting,
Yep.
I neglected to announce that we met in executive session to discuss litigation and real estate. I had the note. I saw you
Just
writing the
making
note.
sure, sorry.
I'm a little, I was a
Keeping
little
you
slow.
in
I
line.
got it done before the end of the meeting. Okay, any other, anything else, Aaron?
That's all I have, commissioners. Thank you.
Okay, solicitors report.
That was my report.
All right, well, we got it then. All right, citizens' comments. Any citizens' comments? Yes. Patricia. Oh, and John.
Patricia, do you want me to read anything for you tonight, or
She has it on her phone.
I'll come over. John, you want to go first?
Sure. My name's John Sperling. I live at 1701 West Main Street or Welsh Road. They're one and the same. My deed says West Main Street. I'm here to talk about the movie lots. Now, in the past, we weren't able to discuss it because nothing's been presented. Well, that all went out the door when we were served. Me and 90 other homeowners or property owners in the area, including the township, have been served by the sheriff's office a nice thick thing of this. And it's all about closing paper streets. Now, they sent us a letter, about 2 weeks ago that said that they were only considering closing the streets that were in the property that the school district owns. And I think that goes pretty well without being said that that's going to happen. But I'm here to ask, at least if you're doing that, let's close all of the paper streets that can be closed. The properties that are adjacent to, or the property owners should get half of that property. And if there's a landlock involved in it somehow, there should be a right-of-way. Now, Patty knows, she already knows that they're planning to go in through 4th Street, which is what you're using as a driveway. And Cody is going to sell out. That's a given. That's why he's listed as a plaintiff in this case.
Oh.
Have you gotten yours yet?
We just, I'll let our solicitor respond.
Ah,
but
you did,
We
okay.
just got served, yeah.
Well,
Well,
I'm hoping.
we haven't actually gotten served.
Oh.
I just have.
We did.
Did you?
We did, just yesterday, yes.
Oh, all right.
Yeah.
Yes, but I have mine, yeah.
Okay, good, because I'd be happy to give you one.
No,
Each
thank
one
you.
of us got two.
All the same.
I have my own half a ream of paper,
All
thank
right,
you.
well, I'm hoping that you're going to be, I guess you're going to represent the township in this deal?
I have to discuss that with the board.
Okay, well, I'm hoping that you're going to be representing all of the 90 people that have property adjacent to that. So, because this starts off saying, we have been sued. Now, I don't know how we could have, doesn't that mean the process that we are being sued? But it says we have been sued and we should give it to an attorney.
I'm going to say this. I'm going to choose my words carefully because we are defendant in this suit, just like you. But the township's also involved in a pending conditional use application, which is now on hold. They've asked for a continuance. And the plaintiff in this suit is also the equitable owner of these properties, and they have certain rights. But I'll say what this is. This lawsuit, it looks exactly like a lawsuit. The sheriff came and served you. It has all the formal headings. It has all the disclosures that are required. You're listed as a defendant. The township's listed as a defendant. But it's not a lawsuit for money. What they're trying to do is extinguish the easement rights that all these property owners have over those paper streets. So there's no obligation to do anything. You can choose to, but my job as the solicitor for the township is to advise the commissioners as what they can do, what they should do, what their options are, and then they choose. So I don't know what that is just yet. I won't be sharing that with the public because my advice to them is just for them. But if you would like to do something, you can call this attorney that's on this list. You can consult an attorney. But that much I can tell you. It's not having anything to do with money. It has to do with your rights to use those paper streets and those easement rights that stem from that original plan that created these streets. They're trying to extinguish those rights. That's what this is.
So then I should be talking to them about closing the streets. 3rd Street, 3rd Street, we own half of 3rd Street, or 3rd Street goes between me and Wayne Hilbert over there.
Well, I can tell you that the township doesn't have the right to close any of the streets after 21 years have passed. That much is true. That's what creates this whole paper street problem. The township had 21 years from when that plan was originally recorded that created the paper streets to open them. After 21 years passed, the township can no longer open those streets. So the township doesn't have any power to do anything relative to the paper streets.
So who owns those streets?
Everyone next to the streets owns to the center line, but the people who were on the original subdivision plan have easement rights. And that's what this suit is about. It's about the easement rights.
Okay, so technically then Wayne owns half of their 40-foot road, 40-foot street.
The people on both sides own to the center.
Okay. All right.
There you go.
So they can't have that then, basically. And where their property, like behind us on Harding Avenue, that's another 40-foot wide. Well, they own on the other side of 40 foot, so technically I own half of that Harding Avenue and they own half of it?
I can't give you that advice. I don't know, sir.
Well, I'm relying on you guys.
We feel your pain. We got the same stack.
Yeah, well.
Thank you, John.
All right, thank you. We'll be talking again.
He's going to go up to him.
What do you got for her? Oh, he's going to talk
He's
for
gonna
her. Okay.
How you doing?
His birthday's tomorrow? Okay.
Ah,
Happy birthday.
Birthday.
Thanks, guys. So I'm going to speak for Patricia Josh Martinez, 1807 Welsh Road. So this is her statement. Thank you, commissioners, for letting me speak. I wanted to share a public service announcement because the Polt lawsuit seems to overlook this fact.
Can you get closer to the microphone?
Yes, gotcha.
Thank you.
There you go. Yep.
This is a more in-depth explanation of what you were just talking about, the 21-year law.
You're speaking for Patricia, right?
Yes.
Okay, thanks.
Unused streets, lanes, and alleys, Act of May 9, 1889, relating to unused streets, lanes, and alleys. Section 1, unopened ways or streets on town plots, any street, lane, or alley laid out by any person or persons in any village or town plot or plan of lots on lands owned by such person or persons, in case the same has not been opened to or used by the public for 21 years after 21 years next after laying out of the same shall be and have no force and effect and shall not be opened without the consent of the owner or the owners of the land on which the same has been or shall be laid out. We are in fact owners of the land. I believe those markers that the survey company found are in fact obsolete unless between regular homeowners because no public street was ever built. That is why we mow and plow. It's our land because the paper streets are no longer publicly owned. They're privately owned by us. Half the street next to your property is yours. It's not the public. In the United States, you are free to be gullible and ignore a lawsuit, but the fact that Polt is trying to take our property because we don't but in fact, Polt is trying to take our property because we don't know that it's ours. I encourage everyone that was served to respond to the complaint in writing to the court. Thank you for letting me speak the best I can.
Thank you, Patty.
Thank you.
Appreciate it. And happy birthday.
Yeah, happy birthday.
All right.
Will you be notified when this thing goes to court?
You were served, so you're going to have to get involved. I can't give you any advice as to how to participate. I'm sorry. I can only advise the board.
I mean, will they tell us at least when it's going to court so we can go?
I can't give you any legal advice about this litigation. I'm sorry.
But John, and I'm not overstepping here.
I don't want you to overstep.
I know, I'm just going to
This
repeat.
board
I'm
has
just-
a risk of getting in trouble with the plaintiff because they're involved in other applications with the applicant. So I'm advising them to watch very carefully about what they say up here.
I'm going to repeat something you said.
I'm going to be very careful, and I'm going to stomp if you...
Well, then if you would remind John or restate to John that he can reach out to somebody.
Yes.
And they can answer
There's
those
the
questions.
attorney's name is on the top of this pleading.
And in the letter from Pulte.
And in the letter that you got from Pulte, but on the third page, John, see that name, that Daniel Utine
Yeah.
from Kaplan Stewart? His phone number's on there too.
And John, his contact info was on the letter that you received a few weeks ago that we looked at together?
Yeah, you can
Yep.
call him. Well, he's the lawyer for Pulte, let me just tell you that, but that'll be a start for you. Your other option is to get a lawyer of your own and get some advice. But I can't give you advice because I represent the board. I'm not allowed to advise you. You can do whatever you want, John. I'm not going to in any way curtail what your rights are. I'm just saying that I can't tell you what your rights are. Yeah.
Yep.
Okay, any other citizens' comments?
Oh, and you come here for advice. A table of politicians and a lawyer.
Yep.
All right, don't offend me. Things down to me and Chief.
You guys are up here too. You're lumped in.
Apparently. No, I appreciate that, John.
Tom's both.
Oh, Commissioner, trust me, Commissioner Andrus likes to tease me about that very point as well, so no worries, no
Yeah,
worries.
double
So,
whammy.
all right, I will entertain a motion to adjourn if there's such a motion from one of the commissioners.
So moved.
Motion by Commissioner Lestraka, second by Commissioner Andrus. Any questions or comments? Hearing none, I will call the question. All in favor of adjournment, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Hearing none, we are adjourned. Thanks for coming out, folks.